So that's being said, let's go through some news now. And well, first of all, of course, I will start with the Kursk salient area, where Kiev regime yesterday launched yet another suicidal, relatively large-scale offensive operation. And during entire day yesterday, I was sharing on my Telegram and the Twitter X pages videos and additional information about destruction of armored columns of Kiev regime, one after another. And let's go through some details now. Main direction of this yet another suicidal offensive of Kiev regime was Ulanak settlement, Cherkasskaya Konopelka settlement, and Ulanak settlement. Waves of attacks were conducted by Kiev regime's forces and the NATO mercenaries, but it seems to me that Russian side knew about this incoming attack. Russian intelligence were informed about it, potentially because Russian troops were just really organized to repel these attacks, and they destroyed dozens and dozens of armored vehicles of Kiev regime and over 200 military personnel, right? This attack seems like was not surprised at all for Russian forces. And late evening yesterday, Russian Defense Ministry shared their update on developments in the Kursk salient area. And let me go through this news, dear friends. I guess it will be interesting to you too. So as of 2100 hours or 9 o'clock at evening, units of a Sever group of forces of the Russian Federation, Sever means north, so units of the North group of forces of the Russian Federation foiled an attempt to counterattack launched by the armed forces of Ukraine in the direction of Cherkasskaya Konopelka and Ulanak in the Kursk region. All attacks were repelled. In this direction, from the morning of 6th of February, the armed forces of Ukraine launched 8 waves of attacks with their forces of up to 2 mechanized battalions on infantry fighting vehicles and armored fighting vehicles supported by tanks and counter-obstacle vehicles. The Ukrainian assault units were stopped by and defeated by soldiers of the 11th Separate Air Assault Brigade of the Russian Federation, also 810th Separate Marine Brigade, the veterans and their Arbat volunteer formations, as well as operators of drones from the Rubicon Center of Advanced Unmanned Technologies, the 40th Separate Marine Brigade, and the 177th Separate Marine Regiment, supported by aviation and artillery. Armed forces of Ukraine losses amounted to more than 200 troops and about 50 pieces of weapons and military equipment, to include 8 tanks, 5 infantry fighting vehicles, 1 armored personnel carrier, and 30 armored fighting vehicles, as well as 3 counter-obstacle vehicles and a bridge-laying vehicle and other equipment. Units of the Sever or North group of forces continue to mop up the enemy formations from areas where scattered groups of the enemy remain. So clearing operation basically is underway. And there yet again, let's look at the map. Attack was on a southern eastern direction of Kursk salient area, as I already said. This is Ulanak settlement, this is Cherkasskaya Konopelka, and according to latest reports, Cherkasskaya Konopelka settlement is still under Russian control, although settlement itself is in a gray zone now, encircled by a gray zone, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if Russian units in this settlement will either withdraw towards Ulanak, or maybe Russian troops will conduct an offensive operation on their own now to reinforce, to conduct a finalized clearing operation around the Cherkasskaya Konopelka settlement and to reinforce a local garrison of the troops there. And maybe we will also witness further advances of the Russian armed forces in the Russkaya Konopelka direction, which is mainly controlled by Russian troops, but some part of it is in a gray zone. Also, Russian troops might advance in a Komakov direction and Makhnovka-Dmitrikov directions. I'm saying so because if you remember, during the previous such a suicidal operation or suicidal offensive of Kiev regime in direction of Berdin, Большое Soldatskoye, when Russian troops also destroyed these incoming columns of enemy forces, after that, Russian troops actually conducted counter-offensive operations and significantly improved their positions, right? So something similar might happen in this area also. And we might see Russian offensive from Ulanovsk, Cherkasskaya, Konopelka areas, directions towards Suja. Obviously, although some channels, by the way, on internet are still reporting about potential continuation of Kiev regime's assault operations during the day today, even though I don't see how this might happen after yesterday's catastrophic defeat. I think Kiev regime will struggle to find another couple of hundreds of, suicidal individuals among a grouping of forces that Kiev regime has in Suja district. Although anything is possible, They might force another battalion or two to commit suicide and launch offensive operations, but I am skeptical of that. Same time, by the way, all day yesterday, reports were coming in about activization of Kiev troops on the western flank of Kursk salient area in direction of Kruglinka settlement. There was artillery preparation that Kiev regime conducted by bombing this settlement and surrounding areas. According to some reports, Kiev regime's forces even tried a couple of times to advance in direction of settlement, but were repelled, and after taking some severe losses, stopped their activities. Let's see what kind of developments will take place today, but it is possible that some sort of activities will be reported still from this northern part of Kursk salient area. And this is it when it comes to this direction. Kiev regime, for no reason at all, no objective reason at all, sacrificed another couple of hundreds of its military personnel. And one may ask, yes, but why? Why Kiev regime is doing that? And everyone has its own opinion, obviously, and I can tell you my opinion. As we all know, dear friends, next week there will be security conference in Munich, right? Munich Security Conference, or the gathering of the all sorts of politicians, public figures from the West and around the world, I guess, also. And in this gathering, there will be people from backers of Kiev regime, right? Sponsors of the Kiev regime. And I think Zelensky and his backers wanted to have something positive to talk about during that conference. They launched this offensive operation, even though it's a local scale. But if Kiev regime would achieve success, if Kiev regime's forces manage to establish control over their Ulanovsk settlement, or move even further than that, obviously they will make from this some big story about some immense success of Kiev regime and that kind of crap, right? And they will, at least that's how they will present this in that Munich conference. They might even try, by the way. They still might try to do so, despite total annihilation of Kiev regime's forces that were participating in this attack. So that's the main reasoning. I guess NATO backers of the Zelensky and Zelensky himself wanted to have something to talk about in that Munich conference. And secondary reason might be that we all know about low morale among Kiev regime's forces, right? Even Western propaganda outlets are now reporting about it. And it is a similar situation when it comes to residents of Kiev-controlled territory. And therefore, Zelensky and his associates could use this operation, if it was successful, as a propaganda mean to boost morale, right? among its supporters or whatever. But yet again, they failed miserably, and therefore, I don't know, they can try to present this failure as a big success, but who would believe them? I don't know. Anyway, this is it when it comes to Kursk salient area, dear friends. Initiative is in Russian hands, and I really don't believe that Kyiv regime has or its NATO backers have realistic chances to regain initiative in the Kursk salient area or anywhere else on the line of hostilities, right? When it comes to other sectors, by the way, we have an update that Russian armed forces liberated settlement of Figolevka. This is western bank of Oskol River on the northern flank of Kupiansk. Significant progress of the Russian troops and the entire Russian bridgehead on the western bank of on the right bank, let's say, on the right bank of Oskol River is getting more and more significant, by the way, and it looks like something big is about to happen in this direction. Kyiv regime's forces are just unable, absolutely unable to stop Russian advances in this area. And also we had an update that Russian armed forces established control over the Dachna settlement in Andreevka, in Andreevka stronghold that Kyiv regime has. This is Dachna settlement, by the way. And Russian troops are now closing in to Ulakli settlement, and Russian troops were improving positions in Andreevka settlement itself, almost half of it which is in a gray zone now or disputed between the sides. And I guess it will not take long before Russian troops will cut off enter this artillery pocket before Russian troops will basically enter Ulakli and cut off Kyiv regime's troops in this fortified area between Dachna and Ulakli. And there are several hundred to several thousand Kyiv regime troops may end up in a complete encirclement. And obviously Russian troops are closing in to Constantinople also. At this point, Zelenovka, Razliv settlements are on the line of contact, but main direction of Russian assault obviously is Andreevka, Constantinople settlements. In any case, progress, significant progress, I will say, on local scale, but significant progress of the Russian armed forces in southern flank of Pokrovsk sector also. And this is it when it comes to a short summary of the situation on in the zone of special military operation and the counter-terrorist operation. Hello everyone, if you find this video informative and interesting, please click that like button, leave some commentary and share with your friends. If you want to support my work, you can do it through several means. All the links are on this video in the description box and in the pinned comment. And if you want to have access to full show, please consider to subscribe to my Patreon and Boosty pages. Thank you.